The 2016 GOP platform is complete and has been hailed as the most anti-gay platform ever created. But what's worse than that is that it's also the most donor-friendly platform ever created. Now, one of the most obvious things in this platform is the call to raise or repeal contribution limits or donations directly to politicians. Now, currently, individuals under the current law can only give about $2,700 per person directly to a political candidate. Now, primaries are different. Primaries actually count as separate elections than the general. So, for example, if you gave Hillary Clinton $2,700 during the primary, now that we're actually in the general election, you can still give her another $2,700 and not be breaking the law, essentially. Not be breaking campaign finance limits. So you can give a total of $5,400 within a presidential election cycle. Because, as I said, there's a primary, which is a different election, than there's a general election. So basically, yes, that's $5,400 total. Now, not only that, but thanks to Citizens United and the McCutcheon decision, you can also give unlimited amounts to Super-PACs that are supposed to not coordinate with other campaigns. But we all know, of course, those rules are pretty flimsy at best. Not only that, but we have an FEC that's pretty much unable to agree on doing anything. They can't even agree on lunch, okay? So in cases where, they might be coordinating, a Super-PAC will be coordinating with the campaign, which is what's been happening with Hillary Clinton's Super-PAC, well, the FEC is like, can't do anything. We can't even agree that this is a problem. Because the Republicans on the FEC, the Republican appointees think, no, we shouldn't have any rules in campaign finance. We should give as much money to anybody at any time as we want. Whereas the Democrats are like, hey, we do believe in some rules. I'm not saying the Democrats on that commission are all that great either. But nonetheless, those rules suck, and the FEC also not doing very well. Now, even with that, those bad rules and an FEC that can't do anything, Republicans are still like, no. I want to take donor money and I want to put it right in my pocket. I don't want to have to go to a Super-PAC. I don't want to have to do this or that. I just want the money. I just want to come up to a corporation, a lobbyist, and go, give me my money and I will do your bidding. They just want to do that directly, okay? Now, basically, they're like, wait, you think I'm here to serve you? No, I'm here to serve my donors. And I'm tired of dancing around the subject. I just want to get my bribes. So go ahead, remove the limits already so you can make my job easier. So I can go and collect my money. Anyway, it's sort of like Ted Cruz's call to overturn Citizens United. Ted Cruz only wants to get rid of Citizens United if he can make sure that the large corporations and special interests can directly give him and any other Republican money. That's not campaign finance reform. That's actually legalizing bribery. But there's more. The Republican platform also opposes requiring private organizations to publicly disclose their donors to the government. This is a call to make sure that dark money, or so-called dark money, stays dark. So it prevents anyone from saying, hey, look, we want this organization, this private organization, to disclose their donors to the government. So at least we know. You want to know who bought us, they say? No, how about you fuck off? We're not going to do that either. We don't answer to you people, or the people at all. Now, who are these donors, or these groups? They're organizations like Carl Rose, CrossSearch GPS, or the Koch brothers, Americans for Prosperity. So basically, if you're a businessman and you hate the government and you want to give to a politician that also happens to be anti-gay or in favor of some horrible thing that will end up hurting your company's PR, like, for example, Chick-fil-A, well, that's okay. You give to one of these groups and they don't have to publicly disclose your identity. That's kind of a win-win, right? Well, it's a win-win for them. It's a win for the politicians and a win for you, because then you don't have to be on record as giving money to a Republican that hates gay people. which of course is kind of unpopular at this point. Now, finally, the platform also says that Republicans oppose, quote, forced funding of political candidates. Now, what does that mean? Well, that roughly means that no publicly financed elections should be allowed. Basically, privatize all elections completely. No public funding whatsoever. And I love how they use this language. Forced funding of political candidate. You're being forced to give your money to a politician. In fact, they're going to come to your door and make you empty out your pockets. No, that's not what happens. Public financing elections is actually something that prevents political corruption. If we had more publicly financed elections, if all of them were publicly financed and banned private interests, well then they would actually have to go and appeal to the people instead of having to appeal to the largest donors in order to get their money. But of course, the Republicans, they're against that, right? They're against that. They're like, no, we want to privatize all elections so that we can continue to get our sweet donor money. Because then we're going to do what they want, and that kind of aligns with our interests. We like our interests and their interests, not yours. They're interested in putting money in our pockets, and I'm interested in serving them. That's how it works in Washington. But anyway, now what's interesting about this platform, right, is that Donald Trump, one of his claims to fame was the fact that he was not bought, that he was self-funding himself through the primary. Now notice, Trump doesn't mention that anymore. He also doesn't mention how much of a disaster Citizens United is anymore. He also doesn't mention how money corrupts our politics. No. Now that he's done duping his supporters, he switched over to attacking crooked Hillary. Now, let me ask you, what makes Hillary crooked? I would assume part of that is the fact that, yes, she has been dishonest. She's flip-flopped in a lot of positions. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that she's taken millions of dollars in campaign contributions from big corporations and special interests. How she's done speeches at Goldman Sachs for $250,000 a speech. And yet she still won't tell us what was in that. Interesting, right? Well, now you have Donald Trump, who's also embracing big donors and special interests. To all the Trump supporters, how does it feel to be duped? He's not standing up for you. He's not standing up against the system. He is the system. He was the other side. Hillary Clinton is the purchased. Donald Trump is the purchaser. There's really no difference there. Now he's on the other side. And he's just waiting for rich donors who might actually agree with him to go and pour money into him, into his campaign, into his pockets. That's why he chose Mike Pence. Mike Pence is part of the Republican establishment. And he's a cokehead. They love putting money into Mike Pence. And Mike Pence is the safe choice for Donald Trump because that's what, guess what? That gets him closer to the establishment. Now, as far as this platform is concerned, the bottom line here is this platform is nothing but a symbol telling the special interests not to worry. The Republican Party is still open for business. Ignore Donald Trump's populism. Wasn't really honest anyway. He didn't mean it. No. Make no mistakes. Moneyed interests, don't worry. We're with you guys.